Imagine the life of a boxer, an existence honed by meticulous preparations.
Tank, one of boxing's biggest superstars, will return on March 1st for an All-American showdown with Lamont Roach ahead of his fight. He has fans eagerly anticipating another showdown, after videos of his training camp were released as part of the Gloves Off series. Surprisingly, Tank has suggested that his fight with Roach could be part of his final year in boxing, as he is considering retirement in 2025. It would be a huge blow to the sport and a significant surprise if he chooses to hang up his gloves at just 30, with so many potential big fights ahead.
Trying to get in his personal business. Probably just showing him that, I could do anything, especially in your backyard.
Back in the gym, Davis is preparing for his upcoming test and appears to be taking things very seriously, even more seriously than he did with Frank Martin. The reason isn't far-fetched. The Baltimore champion and his next opponent, Lamont Roach, share a rich history, and if there's a fighter who will test both his skills and his resolve, it's Lamont Roach. Recently, Tank made a shocking revelation about himself when he said his biggest fear is being embarrassed and mocked by boxing fans, similar to the mockery Frank Martin faced after being knocked out by Tank months ago.
An existence honed by meticulous preparations.
Catch the rim, baby. Catch the rim, baby. Dance with this shit.
Frank had been captured in slow motion with his face distorted by Tank's punch, his lips and cheeks flying away from their usual position, before he collapsed and stayed down until the count was over. Tank fears such a scenario, and to avoid it, he's giving his very best in training. But if you expected just training camp videos, you may be overwhelmed. The Gloves Off series also features a narrator and footage of some of the most epic moments between the two fighters leading up to the fight. Lamont made promises to teach Tank a lesson, while Tank vowed to break him down. With a blend of Tank's training footage, interviews, an impressive narrator, and some back-and-forth banter, the Gloves Off series has entertained fans in the most exciting way.
Catch the rim, baby. Catch the rim, baby. Dance with this shit.
The incredible rise of Tank Davis is described in the first episode of Gloves Off, Tank vs. Roach, by the narrator. The episode naturally featured Davis as the main attraction for the fight. Ever since I've known him as a kid, his biggest fear was losing, said Barry Hunter, listed in the episode as Davis's trainer. Hunter is best known for his work with two DC fighters, Lamont and Anthony Peterson.
What goes up, come down, buddy.
Hunter recalled Davis crying at an Adrian Broner fight because he desperately wanted to experience Broner's big fight environment. Though quite a few years have passed since that moment, it showed Hunter that Davis would work tirelessly in pursuit of that desire. Despite the knocks on Tank's matchmaking, critics often claim that he is ruled by his fear of losing, given his reluctance to take fights with close odds. His preparation has always been evident in the ring, reflected in his perfect 32-0 record.
He might be 30-0 on paper, but who the nigga for? So it looked good on paper, but there don't be nobody.
Tank Davis is now 30 and says he's had his fill of the savage science of boxing and will soon retire. But first, he has business to attend to in the form of Lamont Roach Jr. on March 1st at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Premier Boxing Champions is producing the event. The arc of the Baltimore product has shifted of late, and watchers aren't fully sure why.
Sir, come on, quick. Drop those hips. Nice. Come on, give me that explosion. Rip.
Long-term fans are curious about his rumored departure, especially with the noticeable absence of his father figure trainer Calvin Ford from recent fight announcement pressers. Tank sure looks solid in gym footage and sounds like he's headed on straight despite talk of imminent retirement. This may be the most skillful person Tank has faced, says veteran trainer Barry Hunter of the DC area. Oddsmakers expect Davis to handle his business on March 1st, and they don't expect the show to convince them otherwise. Despite his wariness with the game, Tank hasn't succumbed to complacency.
God damn.
One tidbit. Tank admits his biggest fear is embarrassment. I'm not trying to go out and get my butt kicked, he states. It makes sense now why he fights the way he does. Strange for such a heavy-handed fighter to be so risk-averse for long stretches of early rounds. It's all about survival, which is understandable considering his tough upbringing. Creating an impressive training montage isn't especially difficult, as anyone who thought Mike Tyson would beat Jake Paul should now know. Tank's biggest fear is avoiding embarrassment. He offers a slightly different spin on his fear, stating that he most wants to avoid the kind of mockery that fighters like Frank Martin faced. Tank seems to share this fear and is preparing hard to avoid embarrassment. "You become a meme," Tank said of fighters who get embarrassed, laughing as he followed with another meme reference. "I ain't got time for that." Meanwhile, Roach is introduced as a fighter eager for big challenges. He immediately agreed to fight Tank, describing himself as relaxed and easygoing, especially compared to Tank. Roach is shown training in Plant City, FL, where he jokes, "I think I'm going to beat this bum." How much does he believe it? Only he knows Roach has faced ups and downs in the ring, just like Tank, and calls him a wild card.
Do you want your legacy to be? If you care. Because some interviews I see you say like, yeah, I don't care about this, I don't care about that. Where you stand on that?
It just like, it's so up and down in the sport. When I say up and down in the sport, it's like...
Davis's record speaks for itself. 30 wins, 28 knockouts. He's left a trail of bodies behind him, with names like Ryan Garcia and Frank Martin on his hit list. But Roach isn't interested in stats. He's preparing to take away Davis's advantages one punch and one mental edge at a time. Roach plans to stay calm under fire, using his own game plan rather than reacting to Tank's every move. His motivation is clear: legacy and life change. "After I win my life and my family's, life will change drastically for the better," Roach said.
It'd be like, I don't know, it'd be little clips like you see how like man him was talking and then somebody else talked like his crew. That's what get me up. Like that's what make me like, I always want to prove to somebody that I'm like they not.
Roach isn't just fighting for himself, he's fighting for his family, his city, and the respect he feels has been denied to him. Beating Davis would be career-defining, taking him from being a solid champion to a household name. In camp, Roach that has been pushing himself harder than ever. His sparring partners are chosen to mimic Davis's style, throwing everything at him: speed, power, and aggression. Roach has been holding his own, focusing on movement, defense, and keeping the fight. In the center of the ring, he knows that standing still against Davis is a death sentence, so he's training to stay elusive while still landing sharp counters. His father, Lamont Sr., has been a huge influence, keeping him mentally focused. Every training session is about preparation and improvement, not worrying about what the media or fans are saying. It's all about staying grounded and sticking to the plan.
I'm not looking at Lamont the way that everybody else look at Lamont. Like I know Lamont is a really good fighter. I'm not. This ain't no Frank Martin. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
It's a real good fight.
Roach's plan is to stay calm, stay sharp, and show Davis that he's not intimidated. If Roach can do that, he's got a real shot at breaking down the mental barriers Davis usually builds around his opponents.
Talk to me about the mental preparation going to this fight with Lamont. Fans, they kind of sleeping on Lamont, but you know Lamont's fighting style. Y'all fought in the past.
People don't know him, but Lamont is a good fighter. Like he ain't no slouch. Like I fought him in the amateurs. Like
Davis has stirred up confusion lately with his unpredictable moves. For the past few months, the Baltimore native has made eyebrow-raising comments about his career, throwing fans into a state of uncertainty. It all started when, on Christmas Eve, Davis dropped a bombshell claiming that his highly anticipated showdown with Roach was cancelled. No explanation, no follow-up statement, just a social media post that left the boxing world scratching its head.
There's a rematch clause, people, so get ready for 2 fights. But, yes, and after I beat him the second time, I probably would ask the WBA to let me go up to 140 and fight Raya.
Naturally, fans jumped to conclusions, speculating that it might be another one of Tank's infamous meltdowns. The unpredictability of Davis's statements is nothing new, but this felt different. The timing was odd, and with no backup from his team, it felt like another episode of Davis throwing a wrench into his own plans. But just when it seemed like the fight might slip through everyone's fingers, Lamont Roach and his father, Lamont Sr., stepped in to clear the air. They reassured fans that the fight was still on track for its scheduled date. The whole situation could have easily escalated into chaos, but both fighters managed to stay focused on their upcoming showdown.
Yeah, man, I mean, it's going to go. Tank going to be losing the first 3 rounds. Then he's going to download the data. Then he going to knock this dude out in round 7 or 8. Then he going to do the backflip. Then Jim Gray's going to get in the ring, or Caleb Plant's wife, and say, who do you want next? And Tank's going to say, I want all those guys. And they're going to go to the press conference.
Roach was just as baffled as the rest of us when the cancellation rumors started swirling. While fans on social media panicked, Roach wasn't caught up in the drama. In a recent Q&A session on his YouTube channel, a fan asked him directly why people said the fight was cancelled, or that he had pulled out. Roach smiled, acknowledging the question, and explained his side. Davis is like a wild card, Roach said. You never know what he's going to do next. Roach, however, wasn't fazed by the rumors. He's learned to stay focused on what he can control.
No one's been able to solve Tank Davis. What do you need to do together with you and your team, and obviously your son, to score that victory?
We got a game plan. We're going to execute it, and we're going to get the results.
Move that head, bob and weave.
Roach has seen it all in his journey and isn't going to let Davis's eccentricities throw him off course. He knows Davis well enough by now to understand that Tank is his own person, and his decisions don't always make sense from the outside. Whether it's an emotional tweet or a cryptic post, Davis keeps people guessing. But Roach isn't bothered. For him, it's business as usual. He has his own fight to prepare for, and nothing is going to distract him from that goal.
It's gonna be a party on your floor.
I'm gonna let y'all know, son. His father was up here shaking on the what's the name? He was shaking on the
Thank everybody that played a part in it. My team, Roberto Diaz, Gary Jonas.
On my kids, he was shaking on this thing. On my kids, he was shaking. How you gonna say his cap? And it gotta be. You gonna say his cap?
As the countdown to their showdown in Brooklyn continues, it's clear Roach is as locked in as ever. His camp is underway and he's preparing for Tank in the most professional way possible. Tank Davis looks sharp and ready to go, with his weight already close to fighting form.
My whole family is from DC. My whole family, like my entire family.
Don't bring them. Don't bring them.
For what?
Don't bring them. I'm telling you.
They gonna celebrate with me. Yeah.
Don't bring them.
It's gonna be a party on your floor.
I'm gonna let y'all know, son. His father was up here shaking on the what's the name? He was shaking on the
Pops.
On my kids, he was.
Interestingly, Tank's longtime trainer, Calvin Ford, hasn't been seen much lately, leading to speculation that the two may have parted ways. Ford has been a constant figure in Tank's career, so his absence hasn't gone unnoticed by fans, and insiders Leonard Ellerb, who knows Tank well, weighed in on the situation. He understood Tank's mindset and the impact of having kids. Things are different when you have kids. It changes your life completely, Ellerb said.
What? Who said that? You said what? You said what? Yeah, that's why I've been waiting for the niggas to talk. How much you want back? How much you want it back? Because I came up here alone. How much y'all want back? How much you want back? Just cut it out. Huh? 100? That's a bet.
Ellerb also pointed out how Tank sees things differently now than he did 6 or 7 years ago. If that's what he said about retiring, we all heard him. He said, "It's never good enough what you do sometimes, and that can be frustrating."
When the people who I fight, when they start talking, that's when y'all get them. I'ma beat his ass.
He can't do shit with.
For real. So y'all better be quiet.
I don't give a fuck if y'all is quiet, if y'all is loud.
He got the whole hood over there.
Like, twist it up. I don't give a.
The future looks bright for Tank, but it's also packed with hungry competitors. Fighters like Andy Cruz, Edwin De Los Santos, and Kissan Davis are all chasing him. It's possible Tank feels the heat. These are not easy fights, and Tank knows, yet he may not want to put in the extreme effort required for such high-stakes matchups. Roach will move up to 135 pounds from 130 pounds, where he holds the World Boxing Association title. He insists he's a much tougher challenge than Martin, whom Tank dispatched in 8 rounds last June. "I'm not Frank Martin," the 29-year-old said. "I've got the same skill level, experience, reflexes, and boxing IQ as Tank." Roach has already faced Davis twice in the amateurs, losing by decision both times.